Why is it stuck? Why is everything stuck? Oh. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, text number 17. Right? Yeah. Shote Rata Kumati Nadman Isavarome Yet Pada Padmam Apavaya Bhajanti Bhavya Shantavaham Arayoratino Bhuvistam Na praharanyat anubhava nirastu chittaha Chodhe vrata kamartinat mala isvaro me Nidbhana bhangam avavaya bhajanti bhavya Mam Shrantavaham Arayoratino Bhuvistam Na praharanyat anubhavana rasta chittaha Bodhe Vataka Martinatma The Ishvaro me Nidbhana bhanmam avayaya bhajanti bhavya Munghandavaham arayoratino bhuvistam Na praharanyat anubhavana rashta chittaha Yunhana bham avavaya bhajanti bhavyaha Munghandavaham arayoratino bhuvistam Na praharanyat anubhavana rashta chittaha Shote, regarding a chariot driver, Vritaha, engaged, Kumatina, by bad consciousness, Atmada, one who delivers, Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord, Me, my, Yat, whose, Pada Padmam, lotus feet, Abhavaya, in the matter of salvation, Bhajanti, do render service, Bhavaya, the intelligent class of men, Mam, unto me, Chanta, thirsty, Vaham, my horses, Araya, the enemies, Natinaha, a great general, Bhuvishtam, while standing on the ground, Na, did not, Praharan, attack. Yat, whose? Unubhava, mercy. Naresta, being absent. Chitta, mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. It was by His mercy only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage Him as my chariot driver. For He is worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the object of worship both by the impersonalists and the devotees of the Lord. The impersonalist worship His glowing effulgence emanating from His transcendental body of eternal form, bliss, and knowledge. And the devotees worship Him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are below, even the impersonalists, consider Him to be one of the great historical personalities. The Lord, however, descends to attract all by His specific transcendental pastimes. And thus He plays the part of the most perfect master, friend, son, and lover. His transcendental relation with Arjuna was in friendship, and the Lord therefore played the part perfectly, as He did with His parents, lovers, and wives. While playing in such a perfect transcendental relation, the devotee forgets by the internal potency of the Lord that his friend or son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although sometimes the devotee is bewildered by the acts of the Lord. After the departure of the Lord, Arjuna was conscious of his great friend. But there was no mistake on the part of Arjuna, nor any ill estimation of the Lord. Intelligent men are attracted by the transcendental acting of the Lord with a pure, unalloyed devotee like Arjuna. In the war field, scarcity of water is a well-known fact. Water is very rare there, and both the animals and men working strenuously on the war field constantly require water to quench their thirst. Sometimes they die. No water. No food, no water, imagine. Especially wounded soldiers and generals feel very thirsty at the time of death. And it sometimes so happens that simply for want of water, one has to die unavoidably. But such scarcity of water was solved in the Battle of Kurukshetra by means of boring the ground. And when Bhishma was leaving his body, he said, I'm thirsty. So what did Arjuna do? He bored the ground with an arrow. Shot an arrow in the ground. I think it was Ganga water. By God's grace, water can be easily obtained from any place if there is facility for boring the ground. The modern system works. I mean, it's pretty amazing. We get water from, we get water from the rain. Krishna gives us water from the rain, and you can get water from the ground. I wonder if it says here pretty much anywhere. I wonder if that's. I don't think you can get it from anywhere though. I don't think you get water. There's water anywhere. In the Indians, they used to have these. They had these sticks. Right? They were able. Maybe they were able to actually find water. These sticks. You heard about that?
They did a Goshala escapee. Group of Hispanics, they came and they found essentially a stick like that with four.
Yeah.
And then they wiped their hands and they rubbed it together. So they can feel the electric pool of the water actually. And it did turn there like it also. It starts to pull you downwards and it takes you in the direction of the water.
Wow.
So here, water.
Wow.
And then they started digging.
They found it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Tell you, the Indians, they got smart guy. Also with fasting, sometimes when you do a daily fast, what Indians would do, they'd get a little pebble and they just, swish it around the mouth, and that keeps you from getting thirsty. It creates saliva. So on Janmashtami Day, I always find a little pebble. You don't feel thirsty? No. You're fasting, but no thirst. Indians. By God's grace, water can be easily obtained from any place if there is facility for boring the ground. The modern system works on the same principle of boring the ground, but modern engineers are still unable to dig immediately whatever necessary. It appears, however, from the history as far as back as the days of the Pandavas, that big generals like Arjuna could at once supply water even to the horses. And what to speak of the men? By drawing water from underneath the hard ground simply by penetrating the stratum with a sharp arrow. Well, you have to shoot that arrow pretty hard. You go to the, it's got to go way down. Like, wow, my goodness, strong. A method still unknown to the modern scientist. Om Jnanatamandasya Gnanjana Salakaya Chakshuramitam Jayana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukum Gurudavacharam Mangun Haite Gurim Yat Kripataraham Vande Shigurum Dinadaranam Vanchakapati Vishta Kripasamudeva Yam Pavaneva Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So here we're hearing the greatness of Krishna. Sometimes, that, as Prabhupada mentions here, the impersonalists, they try to mislead people about the personality of Krishna. And they have this what's this? Mistakable understanding of Krishna, that there was one God, then he expanded himself. And we are all expansions of Krishna. So that original one no longer exists. Now we're all God. And they give the example, just like if you have a piece of paper and you tear a piece off, 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 and then you have many pieces, and no more paper. No more sheet of paper. So that's what they say about Krishna. That Krishna, there was one, he expanded himself, now we're all God, but there's no more one. Rascals. Big rascals. Hare Krishna. So, no, Krishna, he's complete. Om Purnamada Purnam Purnashasya Purna. Om Purnamada Purnam Vidam Purnashasya. What? Krishna takes away money. As you get old, you lose your memory a little bit. So. But this is stated that Krishna is complete, and all the complete units coming from him are complete, but Krishna, he remains complete, whole. It's not that he dwindles because of his parts and parcels. No, he remains complete. And Prabhupada gives a nice story of a Gurukul boy. He's maybe 10 years old. And there's about 50 kids in the Gurukul. And the Guru said that the next day they're going to have a festival in honor of his father, the Shraddha ceremony. Everybody should bring something, some prasad. So went to his mother and said, Mata, tomorrow we're going to have a festival at the Gurukul in honor of Guru Shraddha ceremony. And I had to bring something. Everybody's bringing something. So what can we bring? And she said, we can't. We can't bring anything. We're poor, we don't have anything. And he said, well, what am I going to do? And she said, well, pray to Krishna. He is known as Dina Bandhu. You know what Dina Bandhu means? Friend of the poor. So he said, well, where do I find Dina Bandhu? Well, many saints, they go to the forest and they find Krishna, Dina Bandhu. So he said, okay. So he went out to the forest and he's calling out, Dinabandhu! 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 Where are you? Dinabandhu! He's calling out all day long. Dinabandhu! He's calling, Dinabandhu! And Dinabandhu comes. Hi, I'm Dinabandhu. What do you want? Oh, Dinabandhu, it's so nice to see you. We're having a Shraddha ceremony tomorrow in honor of my guru's, his father. Shraddha ceremony. So we all have to bring something. My mother is, we're very poor, we don't have anything. So she said to pray to you. And you would help. He said, okay, well, what would you like? Oh, you think of something. So, said, all right, here. He gave him a cup of dahi, yogurt. And the boy said, but Dinabandhu, this is just one cup, It's 50 boys again. He said, no, it'll be okay. You'll see. Okay. So the next day he goes and the boys are all bringing different preparations and he comes to the guru and he's got one cup of dahi. He said, what is this? You got 50 boys, you got one cup of dahi, what's that? And he knocked it on the ground and it fell and the yogurt was flying all over the place. And the boy was lamenting, he picked it up and it was still full. And the boy said, Gurudev, look, yogurt's all on the floor, but look, it's full. And the Guru said, what is this? He emptied it and it filled up again. He said, where did you get this? He said, I got this from Dinabandhu, my friend Krishna. I said, what? He told all the boys, come, get some, this is a magic cup from Krishna. He had a lot more respect for that boy after that incident. So Krishna's like that, he's complete. So many units will come from Krishna, so much will come from Krishna, but he's complete. This is the greatness of Krishna. So we should understand, actually we must understand. It's interesting that this word should and must are in Prabhupada's books quite a bit. The word should is in Prabhupada's books about 8,000 times. And the word must is there about 4,000 times. So we should surrender. Should we surrender or must we surrender? Which one is better? Must. We must surrender. So probably a little lenient. He uses the should, about 8,000, and the must, he's a little less. So yeah, we must surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, we stay in this material world, shackled by the material world, tied up. Because sometimes people get tied up, you get prisoners, and sometimes they're real good knots. You can't loosen it. So there's a good knot. What do? A strong knot. You cut it, take it out. Finished, right? So Prabhupada, he was explaining this, and he said by chanting Hare Krishna, that's like the machete on the knot. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is how we get free of the material nature. Everybody's tied up, shackled by the material nature. But they don't know how to get free. Everybody likes to be free too. Millions of people are in jails right now. They want to be in jail, but they're bound, shackled, in prison. So actually, the people that are in prison are in prison, and people out of prison are also in prison because we're shackled by the modes of material nature. And it's interesting that sometimes prisoners, they're in jail due to some crime, but they get Prabhupada's books and they chant Hare Krishna and they associate with devotees, and then they get letters from these prisoners to the devotees. We have this prison ministry. They get letters from prisoners that say, now that I'm chanting Hare Krishna and reading Prabhupada's books, I feel more free now while in prison than I was when I was outside. Free. Interesting, that. That's what happens. We become free by taking to Krishna consciousness. But we have to take shelter. Got to take shelter of Krishna. Yeah. Prabhupada was in Los Angeles and he was on a walk with some devotees. And there was one mother there with her child. And Prabhupada asked her, so what is better? The baby monkey on the back of the mother monkey, or the baby kitty in the mouth of the mother kit? Which is better? And the lady, she said, I don't understand, Prabhupada. She'd never heard this example. Which is better? Everybody, you've all heard this example? Yeah. Before you. Anybody else know this? The cat. You see, it's amazing. The monkey, practically by the time they're born, they got to grab onto the mother. And the mother, monkeys, they're like all over the place. Isn't it? So it's amazing. The babies are born so strong because they're holding on to the hair. They're not holding on to the shoulder because he'll be thrown off. The baby's got to hold on to the hair with feet and hands, and their feet are like hands too. So they're holding on for dear life because if they're not holding on, they're going to go flying. So they're strong. From the time they come out of the womb, you're like, all right, Mom, let's go. It's amazing. But the kitten is held in the mouth of the mother, completely dependent on the mother. It's amazing. They're holding the cat's teeth are sharp, they're carnivores, they live, but they're going around with this little kitten in their mouth. And Prabhupada says that this is the difference between the devotee who leaves his body and the non-devotee who leaves their body. The devotee, when he leaves his body, it's just like being taken by the cat in the mouth, no problem. But the rascal rat, those impersonalists, non-devotees, karmis, it's like a rat. The cat, it's death for the rat. It's the loving touch of the mother for the kitten, but it's death for the rat. So therefore, it's good to be Krishna conscious. Throughout this life, then no problem. Prabhupada said that he said when we leave our body, Krishna will come and he'll take you by your sika. So some of you guys got to get sikas. Of course, I have a little sika, but Krishna's pretty expert. Maybe that's enough, I told this to one Malati. I said, Malati, did Prabhupada say that? She said, yeah, she heard Prabhupada say it. But Mataji, the Manis, they don't have a sika. What are you going to do? He said, we grab onto the brahmacharis. We grab onto the feet of the brahmacharis. So, yeah, we have to understand how great Krishna is And then we can take shelter of him. And if we don't take shelter of him, then we have to stay in this material world. Krishna is so great that he can attract unlimited living entities. He's so great. And he does. But there's one thing that he can't get. He can get anything practically. He's so great, but there's one thing he can't get. You know what that is? Our love. He can't get our love if we don't give it. Right? Otherwise, it's forced. It's like, imagine a father that has a child. Child is maybe 10 years old. And he's not showing very much affection to his father. So the father gets a stick and says, listen, kid, if you don't love me, I'm going to beat you. So the kid comes over and embraces, oh, daddy, I love you so much. Is that love?
No.
No, that's force. So we have to go in our own volition, our own choice. That's the only way Krishna gets our love. Interesting, isn't it? He doesn't force. We have our free will. Before I joined, there was one movie, Oh God, and there was a person playing the part of God, and this one of the other persons in the movie, he was there talking to him, and he just mentioned, by the way, I happen to be God. He said, oh yeah, right, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, tell me. And then he did some miracle, and the person was like, okay, well, I guess you are, yeah. And he said, you know something? I always wanted to be God. I always wanted to be God. He said, I'll let you be God for a week. So God told him, I'll let you be God for a week. He said, all right. So he was going around, exercising his God position. But God told him, but there's one thing you can't do. You can't interfere with anyone's free will. It's interesting that they put that in the movie. They probably got that from the devotees, because that's the one thing that Krishna doesn't do. He doesn't interfere with the free will. And there was one lady he was trying to get to love him, and he was really like, love me. He was trying to get her but she said, what are you doing? You can't do that. Krishna doesn't interfere with our free will. So we, on our own, we have to hear the glories of Krishna, the greatness of Krishna. Krishna's so great. Who else can we give our love to? Who else that is so great as Krishna that we can give our love to? I mean, this Putana came to Krishna to kill him. She's a big witch and killed children. I mean, who knows how many she killed. Came to kill him. Poison on her breast. And she was so beautiful that all the residents of her dam were just like, wow, here's the goddess of fortune. Just let her go right in. Yeah. And, she offered her breast to him. But Krishna is so kind. He's so amazing. He just, Bhavagrahi Janardhan, he just took the essence that she came to me like a mother. So, of course, he sucked out her life, killed her, but then she took birth in the spiritual world as a nurse, like a mother. But then I wonder, how is it there's nurses in the spiritual world? There's no disease, no hospitals. Sometimes we hear that he became a nurse. I guess maybe they play acting or something, I don't know. So, Krishna's so kind. In the battle of Kurukshetra, we're hearing here about the battle. Whoever died in Krishna's presence on that battlefield, they went back to Godhead. There were people fighting against Krishna and Arjuna, they went back to Godhead. The enemies, which also is kind of interesting, is that a large number of the soldiers in this battle that were fighting against Krishna and Arjuna, they were part of Krishna's army. Because Duryodhana got Krishna's army. I mean, I don't know how many there were, but there was a lot. And they were fighting against Krishna, but they probably weren't fighting too hard. Because fighting their friends. Yeah. So, yeah, Krishna, he's so kind. Just that we're practicing Krishna consciousness shows Krishna's kindness. Yeah. That he sent Prabhupada to America shows his kindness. That we're able to chant Hare Krishna and take nice Krishna prasadam and engage in devotional service. This shows Krishna's kindness. It's interesting that this verse, Aho Bhakti-yam Sanakala Kutam, there was a devotee, Mukunda, in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, who went to one devotee, Gadadhar. And he said, Gadadhar, do you want to get darshan of a great devotee? I said, oh yeah, I like to meet great devotees. So come with me. So they went to a place where one devotee lived. His name was Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And what's interesting, before he came, Lord Chaitanya was calling out, Father, Father, Father. And devotees are thinking, who's the Father? Because Krishna, he came as Lord Chaitanya, and Gadadhar, who's Gadadhar? Radharani. Who's Pundarika Vidyanidhi? Rishabhanu. Yeah. So Pundarika Vidyanidhi was the father of Krishna, stepfather, or father-in-law. And then Radharani, Gadadhar. So Gadadhar is coming and seeing Pundarika Vidyanidhi. It's actually his father. So, but he was a very, very rich personality, and he was laying on a lawn chair, and he had people fanning him, and people offering him grapes, and it was just beautiful, you know. His wardrobe was very, very wealthy, and and Gadadhar was thinking, oh, I thought you'd bring me to a great devotee. He looks like a materialist, like a gross materialist, you know, like we never even seen, you know. So then Mukunda could see that he had some doubt. So then he chanted this verse, "Oh, Bhakti-yam Stadakala Gudam." And Pundarik Vidyanidhi just went into complete ecstasy. Just went, and he just flew his arms up, and trays went flying, and he's rolling on the ground, and people like trying to hold him down. He's just in complete ecstasy. For how long? 6 hours. Complete ecstasy. And Gadadhar Pandit's like, I mean, he had never seen anything like it. Just in complete, you know, his hairs are standing on end, his body's shivering, tears are coming from his eyes, he's chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. He had never seen such ecstasy in his life. And he's thinking, oh my God. Because he had offended. He was thinking he was a gross materialist. So he was thinking, oh my God, how can I make up for this offense? So then he came out of his ecstasy. And he talked to Gadadhar, said, Mukunda, I think I offended him. I was thinking he was materialist. You're right, he is a great Vaishnava. What should I do? You should take initiation from him. So he decided to take initiation. But before he did that, he asked Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, I'm thinking of taking initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Oh yes, very good. Great Vaishnava. So he took initiation. Beautiful. story. You never know. Can't judge a book by the cover. There was one devotee on Harinam, about 10 devotees on Harinam, and they were going by one person, and this person just started scoffing at him, criticizing. And one devotee said, "Hey, don't judge a book by the cover. You don't know. You don't know us. You don't know what we believe. Don't judge a book by the cover." And he gave him a book. This is what we believe. Don't judge a book by the cover. Read what we believe, then you judge. Don't judge just on externals. He said, "Okay, that's good. I accept that." So he took it and he read it, and he was impressed. Became a devotee. Yeah. I just recently heard about it. There were some devotees in Kirtan, in one temple, and they were dancing and singing, and it was ecstatic Kirtan. And one devotee fell down. The devotees thought he had sprained his ankle or something, but he wasn't moving. And the devotee shook him, "Hey, Prabhu, it's okay." He had left his body in the Kirtan. Yeah. So the devotees are like, "Haribo!" Because he left his body. It can't be a better place, to leave your body. Haribo! Like when Haridas Thakur, when he left his body, it was big kirtan. Lord Chaitanya is carrying Haridas Thakur, kirtan. Haribo! What a great way to leave your body. Another time there was a person in Los Angeles. He was a bit envious of the devotees. So he would sometimes break the windows of the temple. And one time he came by and he broke a window, and one of the devotees in there said, "All right, I've had enough. I've had enough of this." So he went and he chased the guy down. And he caught him and he beat him up. But this person that got beat up, he was impressed. He thought the devotees were like sissies, just... But this guy beat him up, and later he had because of that he had more respect for devotees. They're not just sissies, tough guys. So one day, believe it or not, he went to the Sunday feast, and they wouldn't let him in. So he said, "No, I have more respect for you guys. The guy beat me up pretty good there. I have more respect for you guys. I just wanted to find out a little more about what you guys believe." So they said, "All right, we're watching you. We're watching." So he came in and he participated. He chanted Hare Krishna, and he stayed for the lecture. And he was coming every Sunday. He started coming every Sunday. Devotees were amazed. This is a type of preaching that we don't suggest. But this is how he came. And eventually, he started chanting Hare Krishna, and he got books and he was reading, and he actually asked, "Can I move in? I mean, I like you. I like this philosophy. You guys are good." And he had been coming around, so he said, "Yeah, all right, yeah, come, join," because he had been coming. He became a book distributor. He became a big book distributor. Yeah, amazing. Huh? So it's amazing how devotees join the Krishna consciousness movement. It's amazing, especially the early devotees, because when Prabhupada came, because Prabhupada was so pure, and he was praying. He came to deliver the Western civilization. So you can imagine how fervent he was praying. So many people were joining in so many ways. This is amazing. And many devotees said we should have a book about how devotees had joined, because there's amazing ways that devotees had joined. Unfortunately, many of those devotees have left their body, or also some of them have difficulty practicing Krishna consciousness. So for this lifetime, they had stopped. But yeah, Prabhupada just had this intense desire to help us. And this is the desire of Krishna. This is the desire of Lord Chaitanya. Priti viti achayati nagaradigram sarvatrapachoyam. That this name of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread to every town and village throughout the world. So this is the Hare Krishna movement. So many people were joining, believe it or not. In the government, they were starting to get worried that devotees are going to get in the government, because there were so many devotees joining. We had temples, probably within a few years, it was like 40 temples. Unbelievable. And there was a book called The Hare Krishna Explosion. So many people were joining. And when Prabhupada heard that the government is now getting concerned, that they're becoming so popular that they might become in the government, he liked that. He liked that. And actually, we had devotees entering into the positions like mayor. They were in the race to be mayor in Atlanta, Georgia. Balavanta. It's amazing how he joined. There's so many amazing. This is devotee Balavanta. He's in the airport, flying out, and he's a devotee, distributing books in the airport. And the devotee hands it to him, and he's telling him about it. And Balavanta, I forgot his name before he joined, he just walked away with the book. Because that's the way we used to do it. We used to just, here you go, check it out. And so he's looking at it, and then he just walked away. And the boy said, excuse me, we try to get a donation. And he said, if I like it, I'll send you a donation. And he kept on going. So he liked it. And gave his life. To this day, he's still a devotee. He helps the devotees so much. He's a lawyer. That's how he joined. He stole a book. But he didn't really steal it, because the devotee, here you go. That's what we think. We think they're stealing it, but hey, we're saying, here you go, check it out. That's like giving it. So, actually, there was an instance in Canada where devotees were having a festival. And there was one devotee, very nice devotee there at the book table. And one person came to the table and he said, are you Hare Krishnas? He said, yeah, we're Hare Krishnas. He said, why is it that I have an unusual, not a very nice feeling about the Hare Krishnas? And the devotee said, well, you'll have to tell me. He said, well, I'll tell you what happened. I was in the city here, and one of your members, that he handed me a book. He said, here, this is for you. And I said, well, I don't have any money. He asked for a donation. I said, well, I don't have any money. And he took the book back. Now, when he gave it to me, it appeared like it was for free. But I didn't have any money. He took the book back. And I thought, well, that's very unusual to have people like that walking around giving out free things and then taking back the free book when they don't have money for the free book. And the devotee said, well, I apologize for that. And here, you could take any book you like here for free. And he did. He took a book. And he invited this person to the temple. I don't know if he went to the temple or not. But we have it. That's how I was trained. Here you go. You get one. That's how we were trained. When you say something like that, it's a free book. And we have such a bad reputation for giving out free books, but not actually. Now you guys have the free signs, but you actually have free books. Now, if you didn't have free books, I'd be on your case. You have to always, if you have a free sign, you got to have free books. When somebody comes there wanting a free book, they have to get at least a small book. And the other book, we ask for donations. That's okay. You're being honest, but that has to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't look good. And I'll tell you what happened. I went on a whole rampage because I was the minister of book distribution at that time. I was at a university, and a professor came to the table, the book table, And he said, oh, you're Hare Krishna? I said, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, you're the people that give out the free books. And when we don't give you a donation, you take back the free book. I said, yep, that's us. And I just thought, this is a terrible thing. Here we have a professor, a respectable professor that sees our con. You know con? You know what con means? Huh? Cheating. He sees that it's cheating. You get if you don't give it out, you take the book back. It's terrible. So I would travel astronomy all over the world. Listen, Prabhu, we don't do that anymore. You present the book here. Can I show this to you? Or here, check this out. Don't here you get one. When you say here you get one, that means it's free. You should never say that. Unless you want them to keep it. So there's certain phrases that people know. So we have to be careful about that. Otherwise, we get a bad reputation. And we really cleared it up. We really cleaned up a lot. I remember I was at an airport distributing books in LA airport. And I was talking to one gentleman, elderly businessman, maybe 55, 60. He said, you're Hare Krishna? I said, yeah. He said, you guys used to be bad. We were bad. We used to do the change up, and here you get one, and all these things. But he appreciated how I was presenting the book. He gave a donation. He said, it's good that you guys cleaned up your act. Of course, we were young when we first started doing books. We were young. We didn't know. No one knew how to distribute books. Therefore, there were some book rooms that had cases and cases of books. Nobody knew how to distribute books. And then finally, it broke through. But we didn't know how to distribute books in a nice way, so that people walk away with a good impression, which is the golden rule, actually. Now that's the golden rule in ISKCON for book distribution. Everybody walks away with a good impression, whether they take a book or they don't take a book. So it's very important. So, any question or comment or correction? Yes.
I like that story of the boy calling for you monthly.
Yeah, it's a nice story.
I find like we have so many statements like in Bhagavad Gita, like my body will never perish, or just surrender to me and I'll take you. I'll release you of all your sinful reactions. And I feel like in that situation, that story especially, the child was able to, he had so much faith in those words of his mother, and that's why Krishna actually decided to appear to him. But for me, and I think like especially adults in general, like we lose that simplicity, that ability to just like take the word as it is and just fully trust it and believe in it. I was curious if you had any advice on how to become simple again, simple-minded, just believe whatever words we see in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam.
Yeah, when we're young, we're a little also, because we're not of the world, we're kind of a little naive, so we accept things on face value. So that simplicity is very nice. Now it's become so materialistic, and sense gratification is so rampant. It's just the simplicity has been lost. Like a big problem in schools is the teachers have to deal with these kids that are just, they've already, by the time they're 10 years old, they've already seen the world practically, because you got the internet, and innocence is gone. They're already, they're having sex at 12 years old. It's like, it's just insane. And it's a big problem with teachers, dealing with the kids. See, I remember in New Zealand, there was one devotee. He was a teacher in England, and he said I had to quit. The kids nowadays, they're monsters. There's absolutely no innocence. Yeah, no simplicity. Violent, aggressive, foul speaking, just obnoxious. He told me one story where one boy was doing wrong, and he called the principal and And the principal came in, and the boy said to the principal, "And what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do?" Can you imagine that? The principal, he's a head guy. Like, what are you going to do? Couldn't do anything. You'd like to beat him. But you can't do that. So one thing one thing that Radhanath Swami said, which really hit my heart, he said we should always think like we're a new bhakta. We've been around for a while, and it's easy to think, well, now I'm a big devotee. I've been around for a while. I'm a senior devotee. But it's interesting, now here is a devotee. Radhanath Swami is one of the most respected devotees in the movement. By far, one of the most. He's in the top 3 probably. And what does he say? We should always have the mood of a new bhakta. Amazing, coming from him, who's such a senior Vaishnava, thousands and thousands of disciples. So that if we have that mood, then that helps us keep that simplicity, that innocence. We shouldn't think that we're too big to do a certain service, like washing pots or cleaning or. It's nice we have this situation where we're all doing. We should all be doing these things. This is Krishna's little ashram, and it should be clean. So anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
You give the analogy about beating the child, and then the child comes and embraces the father.
Yeah.
But isn't Krishna creates this material world, puts us in this material world? Isn't that like indirectly doing the same thing?
In one sense, it's the same thing. But most people, even then, they don't get it. They don't get it. They just, oh, this is part of the material world. How can you be happy if you don't feel some pain? My sister told me that one. It's a material world, yeah, but a little reversal here and there, it helps you appreciate the good things in life. So they can't catch that. It's not a nice place. It's a miserable place. So, but if one is pious, if one is sincere, then one thinks, oh, wait a second. I don't want this suffering on me. And they see others suffering and think, well, wait, maybe there's something beyond what we're seeing here if someone's a little pious and intelligent and sincere. But yeah, a lot of people just, part of life. Yeah.
Is the reason why the material world is miserable, why Krishna makes it such a way, is if it wasn't, no one would come back?
Well, they wouldn't have that impetus. Like I went through, like I mentioned earlier in some class, the earthquakes. There's earthquakes, there's life quakes. Some people have these life quakes and it kind of like shakes them up, and started questioning. That's what I did. And I went through this life quake and I thought, well, wait a second, what's this about? People aren't happy in this world. I'm not happy in this world. Maybe there's something beyond this world. And then I started looking into philosophy, and so yeah. This material world, it's booby-trapped. It's booby-trapped. You just walk along, bam, something, car crash or divorce or, your family member dies. These are little booby traps. Shake you up. Then you got a little more, be a little more careful.
I guess my second question is
Go ahead. Last question.
when it comes to Bhakti Yoga, I was just reading about Jay and Vijaya, how they were serving Krishna as hating him, and when they were incarnated.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, like, how does that work? It's not like opposite of love.
Yeah. Well, this is Krishna's pastimes. Jaya and Vijaya were there in Vaikuntha, and Krishna, he wanted to have some, of course, in Vaikuntha or the spiritual world, Krishna, not in Vaikuntha, there's more awe and reverence, but in Krishna Loka, Krishna, he wrestles with his friends, but it's play wrestling. So Krishna wanted to have some real fights. Someone might ask, well, why? Well, that's the variety of Krishna. He wanted to have some real duke out, call him duking out, duke out fight. So he wanted some real fight, so therefore Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana. So, yeah. Huh? Well, yeah. Krishna, it looked real, but Krishna, he's just playing with his friend, because he knows he's just his devotee.
So the anger that they have, where does that come from? Does it just come from like?
Yeah, Yoga Maya, Krishna just gives that.
Condition?
Yeah, because they're devotees, they're Jaya and Vijaya. So Krishna just,
Is that the same conditioning that we're putting?
Well, we're involuntarily, we decide we want to try to be Krishna. And that's a big mistake. Jaya and Vijaya, they didn't come to try to be Krishna. They came, trying, of course, that Yoga Maya is there, they try to be enjoyer. But they were there to please Krishna. Hard to see that, but so he can fight. But we came here, Prabhupada said, cause us envy. We actually try to be Krishna, which is not good. So now we're trying to clean up our act and understand that, no, we can't be Krishna. We can be the servant of Krishna. That's a position where we can be happy in, not trying to be Krishna. It's unfortunate. So many swamis, practically every one of them, they come and they say, you can be God, or they're teaching nonsense. Prabhupada's the only one that came and taught pure Krishna consciousness. So we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate. He's putting us in the right path, the bhakti marg, the path of bhakti.
So you say ultimately we only have a choice in who we serve.
Yeah, we have a choice.
But we're not capable of being a proprietor, so we only have capability of deciding who.
Yeah, we can't choose to be God and become God.
Only.
A lot of people are trying to do that here. It's not working. And that's what these swamis say. You can become God. Well, wait a second. That means if you're not God now, that means Maya is more powerful than God. But no. So no, we should just focus on this surrender to Krishna. That we must, not that we should, that we must surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, we stay shackled, tied up. Modes of nature. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.